All right, this is a general news hangout, I think, for grins. I'm going to post the topic lists under it. I'm doing now. I'll start as soon as someone comes in. Lisa Burrell, who was the Mike Wallace of today? Tough call. Hello, Jeff.
Mr. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing well.
Great.
I
saw you were starting this thing, so I thought I'd join you really quick.
Yeah.
Just got done paying all my bills, so it's a good thing.
Oh, the noise is coming from the television. I was trying to figure out where the volume was coming from. I've got the wrong thing. Oh, okay, that would make sense.
So I officially got my 4-camera shoot working.
Oh, cool. Good for you.
Yeah. Now, I still have to hit Catherine Graham's up for on-air status, and I'm set to go. She hasn't come through as of yet.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease, and it takes a little while sometimes.
Yeah, I'm going to email her again. Not email her, but whatever it is. Comment to +1, I guess the phrase is.
I was watching the news. Did you see any of the George Zimmerman attorney press conference?
No, I know he dropped out. I didn't see the conference, though.
It was something. The guy's aggressive. He said they were withdrawing because they could not ethically continue to represent him because he's speaking to the prosecutors and he's speaking to the media and he's not returning their phone calls. And the way he described it, he said they asked him about, the police said that don't follow him. And he said that was being characterized as they ordered him not to follow him. And what they in fact said was, you don't need to do that. And then they said, this is according to his attorney, former attorney, I guess, or suspended attorney, what do you want to call him? He said that what he did was they said, what's the address where he went so the police can come? So he walked out of his car to go up and see where he was, and then turned around to go back and tell the cops. And that's when
the confrontation took place.
He went up and said, do you have a problem? He said, no. He said, what do you do now? And he said that he did, in fact, break his nose and knocked him to the ground, was hitting him, lacerations and stuff, but then it was cleaned up at the hospital before he went to jail for that video. But his nose was broken. I guess he said he had stuff, and he was down on the ground with his front, and I guess he pulled the gun out and shot him. And they said that there were no injuries on Trayvon except the bullet wound, but there were lots of injuries on Zimmerman. I think a lot of it boils down to whose voice was screaming on the tape, on whether there's,
I have a hard time thinking that he stepped out of the car to tell them the address when he was the neighborhood watch person, and he knew. I mean, he knew the route, right? He'd say, "Well, I'm halfway between this street and another street." I think he wanted to probably do it, not do it, but get involved at a certain level, and it escalated. I mean, regardless, it's a bad thing, and now I guess there's shooting going on in the area, so they shot at a police car there.
I'll tell you what, that attorney is good.
Yeah, but why is he saying all these things? I mean, isn't that gonna make it harder to get a jury?
No, there's no charges. Right now, their goal
that's right.
is to not have any charges, right?
Yeah. True.
And in Florida, it was interesting what he said. I'm gonna mute. Let me mute. Or not that I don't like Indian music. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Okay. But yeah, it's obviously it's sad. But he pointed out something. He said they're using a picture of Trayvon from 5 years ago when he was 12, and he's now a 6 foot something, or was a 6 foot 17-year-old, and they're using a few-year-old mugshot of Zimmerman, when now he looks much thinner and has a tie, and it's a much more flattering picture.
Right.
And that's interesting. And they're portraying it as this, gigantic man beating up this little boy. When his attorney's saying what happened was, it was a 6 foot tall kid who was suspended from school for whatever, and he was beating up this neighborhood watch guy who was trying to obtain an address at the request of the police. And a guy who mentored minority kids, in the past. So it's interesting.
Well, yeah, but it's just going to be, you're right, it will be interesting, but something bad's going to happen. And
yeah, I mean, it's not going to be like when they burn the books in Afghanistan and people are getting killed, but I think there's just a rush to judgment. But the way the police or prosecutors work, they keep everything secret until long time later.
From what I originally thought, they wanted to arrest him, but then the prosecutors said no. The investigating police detectives wanted to issue a warrant for his arrest, but the prosecution said no. And I could be wrong. I don't know. I think I read that someplace, but I'm not really 100% up on it. I didn't watch that newscast, obviously. So
the attorney said that the way it works is you can defend yourself. He said it's a good law. But he said that the way it works is the law in Florida says that you have to be in a place legally, and they both were. You have to not have initiated the first physical confrontation. And according to what the attorney said, he did not. And that those are the conditions under which you can defend yourself. So it
with lethal force.
Yeah. So if it's true that he was just scoping out the thing and he came up from behind and punched him and broke his nose and everything, and he felt threatened by this 6 foot tall guy who was assaulting him, and so I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But he did say that all the evidence they have will come out if they decide that they're not going to bring charges, that they'll release the evidence because they won't be able to keep it anymore.
Right. Yeah, it's no need. I got a question for you. In your Hangout, do you have two open boxes that says broadcasting service at the bottom?
That's interesting. I see that. I have two blank spaces.
Yeah, and then when I hover over it, it says broadcasting service.
Oh, well, let me see if I hover over it. Yep. Yeah, I hope it's not taking up two of the spots. Because
Yeah,
it did for a while, but then it stopped. Any of you guys see, welcome John, any of you guys see Anthony?
Yeah, it's the broadcasting service.
Either you guys see any of the press conference from the attorney today? Or the former attorney for Zimmerman?
No, I missed it.
I think I'm the only true news geek in this hangout.
No, yeah, you probably are at this point, yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that whole thing?
Well, you're right. I had initially I had a different concept of it. I thought this kid, Zimmerman, was a vigilante of sorts and basically, provoked something to take place, and different facts are presenting itself as it happens. But so why these lawyers are saying basically that they're not going to be representing him because they're not talking to him. He's not returning their calls.
Yeah. For folks who are joining us, like Anthony and John, in a nutshell, he said that what I caught, I didn't catch it all. I caught it in midstream, watching the live video. He said that he pointed out, first of all, that they're using a 5-year-old picture of Trayvon, that he actually is a 6 foot tall kid, 17 years old. They're using the when he was 12, and a little boy, and that his Twitter picture had his middle finger extended. They're not using that, and he said his website, he didn't feel comfortable in polite company saying what the name of that was, and they're using a several-year-old picture of Zimmerman when he was arrested on charges that he was later exonerated for, instead of a nice picture now where he's thinner and wearing a suit and tie. So he's saying, why are they using a more attractive picture of the kid and using a more unattractive picture of Zimmerman? He said that he mentored minority kids in the past, that the cops didn't tell him not to follow him. They said, you don't have to do that. And then he said, then they asked him where the address was for the cops, and then he got out of his vehicle to go and observe, just from a distance. He wasn't like right on him. He was just observing as a neighborhood watch guy, and that he just looked to see where he went, and then turned around to return to his vehicle so he could give the police the information so they could go, and this is all according to the attorney, that then Trayvon came up behind and said, you have a problem? And he said, no. And he said, well, now you do. And he punched him and broke his nose, knocked him to the ground, and caused lacerations on the back of his head. And he said that he was cleaned up before that video at the police station was taken, but that the medical records will show that his nose was in fact broken and that there were lacerations, but they were treated. So that's what the attorney said today. And he said that, and the last thing is, and I'll go to John, the last thing he said was that they can't represent him ethically because for 3 reasons. He's talking to the media against their advice. He's talking to the prosecution directly without them present and against their advice. And he's not returning their phone calls. So they said, under these circumstances, we cannot represent this person. John?
They were talking about on an MSNBC maybe a week ago. I don't remember the exact date. I was just channel surfing. But they even noticed the lacerations on the back of Zimmerman's head as he was being brought into the police station.
Yeah, the first video was fuzzy.
Yeah, but you can still see on
enhanced
the back of his head. Yeah, but you can still see on the back of his head where it looked like he got gashed open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts from you guys? And then what we should do is more people join. We can revisit this. But Anthony, you have any thoughts on this?
I keep on I look at the newspaper, but I keep on not seeing this, and I'm not seeking it out, so I'm not really seeing anything except for when people talk about it outside of the news. But in general, I think that self-defense laws need to be, protected. Like, basically, if you have the right to carry a weapon, a handgun, whether it be concealed or unconcealed, depending on the state that you're in, what's the point of having the right to carry a handgun if you can't use it,
It's all about the circumstances of this case. Was he
Well, of
attacked
course.
from behind, or was he aggressively pursuing this, this person? And we don't know that. That's the.
Yeah, see, well, what about the idea of, just if you were punched, does that give you a right to kill the person? I mean, is that too much of a reciprocating response?
You have to be very careful.
If I'm shoved, can I knife you? I mean...
Bruce, what about the elevation of the level of violence? If I punch you, if I come up from behind, punch you in the face. Now, granted, the kid was, may have been very worried. This is a tragedy, right? The kid didn't know who this person was. Apparently, he was on the phone with his girlfriend, and he said, "There's somebody following me. I don't know what's going on." So the kid's adrenaline was running too, right? But Zimmerman went up, noted his address, but he had no idea why this guy was following him. He had no idea why this guy got out of his vehicle and was looking at where he was going. He may have thought he was a murderer, rapist, robber himself, whatever. And but Zimmerman's, if he went up from behind and said, "Do you have a problem?" and then someone punches you, breaks your nose, knocks you to the ground, starts either beating or kicking or whatever, and cuts your head. At some point, you could. I would, if I were in that situation, at some point, I might, with my adrenaline pumping, right, I might think this guy's going to kill me. And is there enough, based on what again, all this is what the attorney said today, which was an amazing interview. This guy would be a great person to represent you. He really gave a great case. He was forceful, but not belligerent with the media, and I listened to him and I was like, man, if what this guy's saying is true, then
Whose attorney are we talking about now?
We're talking about Zimmerman's attorney who withdrew.
Okay, all right.
Because for the three reasons he said that he was talking to the media, he was talking to the prosecutors, both against his advice, the attorney's advice, and that he wasn't returning their phone calls, and so they said we can't. We have to suspend he said we'd love to represent him, we'll help him. But even as they said that, they went into this forceful defense of Zimmerman. And of course, Zimmerman's not been charged with anything. That's the whole debate. Not whether he's guilty or whether he's going to be convicted. It's whether he should be charged. Go ahead.
No, I'd like you to finish. I don't want to interrupt you by any means, but...
I'm repeating myself I've said this like 2 or 3 times now, but as people come in, it's like you got to kind of...
Well, all I was going to say to be said about this, and it is a tragedy for sure. I've been a concealed carry guy for a number of years. I'm here safely in the Fairfield Inn Marriott, and yet in my back pocket right now is a Kel-Tec 380 semi-automatic pistol. I have a concealed permit from the state of Virginia that has reciprocity with the state of Florida. And I drove down here with my 11-year-old granddaughter. That's probably an interesting point. I'm not a crazy person. I'm a 61-year-old father and grandfather. But where I was going to jump in on the comment was, Jeff, when you said about the punch, and then you guys switched to a push, there's a lot of things to be considered there. For instance, a punch, it would depend, every situation would be different. But one punch to the side of the head, the temple here, could be enough to incapacitate you and knock you out to where the next punch, the person could kill you. If somebody pushed me, I would do my best to try to back off. And then it gets just to be a discussion about what's going on. But, I didn't get a chance to hear the interview. But if some of the things that I've read and heard on this particular situation, where he was on the bottom and this young man was bashing his head into the sidewalk, and there were screams for help, of course there's arguments on who it was that was screaming for help. It looks to me like there was some restraint use. I mean, he could have drawn on him if he was hopped up and everything. He could have drew on him sooner. He could have just showed, which you have to be careful because there's laws against that. But it is a tragedy nonetheless. As a concealed weapons holder, as far as I'm concerned, he should have never. He should have backed off as soon as the police said we don't need you to follow him.
Yeah, I have 2 points. One point is, he's not following the advice of his lawyers, right?
Right.
So that's interesting because they didn't follow the advice of the police, right? So that kind of tells you this guy is not someone who listens well in terms of instructions and possibly what perhaps the right set of conduct should be in a certain circumstance, right? Mm-hmm. Here's a high-stress circumstance. He has 2 expert lawyers, and yet he's choosing to do something else, and they have to recuse themselves. And so it kind of lends itself to the idea of maybe this guy is not the listener. That's number one, and number 2 is you'll never know the other side of the story because the other guy's dead.
Guys,
or maybe he's getting advice from somebody else now.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Oleg on my phone because this is a broadcasted Hangout, so I can't invite someone. I can't call them.
No,
so
you
I'm actually call them on my phone and put them on speaker. And I'm low on battery, so I don't know how long I'm gonna keep them before I die here. This is a crazy workaround, huh?
And let me apologize if any of you happen to be offended by my little display there. It was just part of.
Oh no, I believe everyone has the right to defend themselves. I mean,
anybody watching the Hangout who was about to rob you, you think you're gonna think twice now? I got a 357 Magnum over there, Bruce. Good.
Yeah, I'm not offended at all. I've never had a concealed carry permit, but I did have a carrying permit for quite a long time when I lived in Tennessee. And yeah, no.
All right, I'm trying to call him now. I'll put him on speaker, and then we can. It all boils down to old tech, right?
Has to link to him in the Hangout.
No, I guess he can't do it. I can't do the. Can y'all hear that dial tone?
Yeah. I hear bringing.
But Bruce, I mean, the problem is, boy, we'll never ever know the other side, and geez, it's hard. It's really hard. And regardless if the guy was 6 foot or not 6 foot, the penalty for some stuff shouldn't be death without a,
Hello, and thanks for calling. Please leave your name and phone number, and I'll get back.
Oh.
Hey, call me back. This is Dan. Call me back. I'll put you on. This is it's ghetto, but it works. If I had known, I can set it up. I have wires and stuff to bring this in, or I could have called him like with a Magic Jack or something and brought it in, all professional. But
Magic Jack actually works for you, Dan?
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, I got 2 of them. I got 2 salespeople who work here using Magic Jack to receive calls and Google Voice call through Gmail to go out.
Oh, that's cool. It's never worked for me. Everybody's like, what does it sound like? You sound like you're underwater. I'm like, I don't know.
Because you are underwater.
What kind of internet do you have?
It's through Time Warner. It was when I was using Magic Jack. I was through Comcast and had a 50 megabit down, 10 up connection. It's no matter how fast my actual throughput was, it didn't matter.
My dad uses it. And he recommended it to me, and I have 2 of them. I'm getting ready to buy a 3rd, and they work great. And I'm only like 30 down, 10 up.
Well, I'm only 15 down, 2 up now, but I'd have to get another one to try it again.
Yeah, try.
But I know Comcast would be messing with telephony that you weren't getting from them. They were doing real bad at that.
On my profile in the public, in the player that's public on my profile, I've got a topic list with links. And let me look at the second link. Oh gosh. Okay, John. Just show them the link. I can just post this link here, right? I'll post it.
Yeah, you just cut and paste the link, and then that'll work.
I can do it in a comment, right?
2, 4, 6.
Because he
I
said
don't know
we're
if
allowed
that-
to do that.
Yeah. The only thing is, I don't know what these broadcaster service things at the bottom are going to do with the number in the Hangout.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
Oleg says, I didn't hear you. Are you still hanging out?
I tried to call him.
Yeah.
Did he say that? Where did he say that?
Yeah, it's in the comments of the thing.
On the main one or the limited one? On ours, who are in.
No,
I have
on
like
the original
7
one.
different ones because
Yeah.
you
Here,
know.
I'll hold it. I'll just say where you got it right now.
Just tell him I'll call him again to answer his phone this time.
Okay.
Crazy Russians. All right.
Okay,
And
I told him
then,
you're calling right now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I only got 20%. I hope I don't. Now I have Oleg's number. I wonder.
He's saying call from the Hangout, but he probably doesn't know that you can't. Oh, he says, no, don't call me.
Hey.
Yeah, the only problem is I don't understand why, but it says when I try to join the Hangout, it says the party is over. I wonder why it's not letting me in.
Try refreshing because we had a glitch.
Okay.
And it restarted the server. So if you refresh, it may be a new link.
I got the link here. You want me to send it to you?
The only deal is I need to get off this because I think it'll interfere. So let me get off the phone. But at least I wanted to test to see if you can actually make a phone call from HOA, and obviously you can.
Yeah. But I'm making a no. I'm making a call from my regular cell phone.
Oh, you are? Okay.
And holding the Can you guys hear him? Okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I would say.
They can kind of hear you. I'm just holding. I got it on speakerphone, and I'm just holding it up to the microphone. It's pretty ghetto, I think.
That's cute. Okay. Anyway, let me try to get in the Hangout again. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Too late.
What you can do, if you're doing this situation, is you can get those Radio Shack cables that are mini jack to the 2 RCAs. You can do that.
Right.
Plug it in. They won't hear you through that, but you can bring that in to bring the audio, and I can use that in the broadcast and send it to the Hangout. And then I'll just hold my phone here, and they'll hear me. The caller hears me here, but the caller won't hear you. That's the problem. Unless I hold the phone near the speakers or whatever. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But, okay, so in this popularity poll, and when Oleg or whoever comes in, we can revisit this. There's a popularity poll. This is by Andrew Kautz, who from Digital Trends, and I guess it was an ABC News Washington Post poll. Again, what we're talking about, I've got links to this in the very first comment on the public post of the Hangout player you're watching right now. And when I post it, I'll post the same thing there on when it's done.
I send him the link, so hopefully he'll get it.
Yeah. I posted it on public, so I don't care who joins. It just as long as they don't, show up naked or cuss or something. Okay, so it looks like they surveyed 1,007 adults, and they said Google enjoys an 82% favorable rate, with 53% having a strongly favorable opinion. Just 9% view Google unfavorably. So they led in the favorables and were the lowest in the unfavorables. Apple came in second, 74% favorable. Strong favorability of just 37%. And Facebook came in third with 58%. Twitter ranked lowest with a mere 34% favorable. I think that isn't like they don't like them. I think it's more like they're hostile to them as much as they just don't find the service useful, right?
I know.
Oleg, welcome.
Hi there, thank you.
Did refreshing fix it?
No, did not. In fact, on my screen here, according to what the Google says, let me show you exactly what it says. Let me see, screen share.
Did you get it from the link I sent?
Thank you, Jeff. Yes, I did.
Good.
Hold on a second. Why isn't it working? Screen share. This screen. Select the screen. You see this? No, you don't see this.
Yeah, we see it.
No, but that's the wrong deal.
Is that a naughty message? Are we having a Leo Laporte moment?
No, nothing at all. Again, I'm trying to find the screen.
Hey, that could happen to all of us. I'm not picking on him. I guess I am picking on him, but
Can you see this?
except Bruce, they'd never catch
Yeah,
Bruce
got
doing
the
something.
Skype. We see the Skype.
Yeah.
See the Skype.
Yeah, I can't really have a hard time making out the text. Let me make it bigger. Maybe that'll help.
Well, oh, right there. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's try this one. Do you see this?
That's the best
Yeah.
one there, yeah.
Okay, you see what it says at the top there?
Oh, it says it hung out. Yeah, because they restarted it. If you hit F5 on that, what happens?
If I hit F5 on this...
If you refresh that screen, what does it say?
He's already in the Hangout, though. I won't let him do it.
No, but Jeff, what the problem is, I think it's going to show me the same thing because I already did the refresh before. I could be mistaken, but...
It did say,
Yeah, see right there.
Join the Hangout.
No,
It is hanging out. It's not
now it
saying-
says, yeah, it was a refresh because it said restarting the server. Now I don't know I don't know if that impacts the recording.
It actually shows you in the Hangout, Oleg.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
just a refresh.
Okay. Well, I tried refreshing before and it didn't seem to work, but, I stand corrected.
An odd turn of
Didn't work
events.
this time, so, different. And you cool.
Odd. Very odd. Almost unusual.
Anyway, so Google's popular, more popular than Apple. I guess
It's not as profitable as Apple.
Whoa.
no. But you know what, though? I think this is, it all depends when a poll's conducted. Like, look at, if you took a poll of Gingrich after he did those incredible debate performances versus now, you'd see a dramatically different result. So now you have Google, which is viewed as generally a very useful service because most people just use Google Search. They don't use Google Plus yet. And Apple's had some negative press lately. I think perhaps unfairly so because every company builds stuff in China in these sweatshops, which are probably not really sweatshops as they say, but maybe to American standards. But if there's a line wrapped around the building to get in, obviously, it's not too bad in general. And Facebook always has bad press. And Twitter, I think a lot of people just don't get or find useful and don't use. And those
Everybody's going to love...
who do use it don't actually post as much as they consume. Oleg?
I was going to say everybody's going to love now Facebook because they bought Instagram, so...
Oh, yeah, that's going over really well.
Yeah. Actually, what Scoble said on the subject makes a lot of sense because a lot of people scratch their heads thinking, what the hell are they doing? But this one thing, I don't know if you read the deal that... no, my plugin died. There we go. Did you read the Scoble's deal on this deal?
Didn't he say that it's nonsense that people are going to quit long term? I mean, because it's a good service, or I can't remember.
No. He just said that basically they're buying it for the money. In other words, there's going to be a lot of money, most likely from the ads that people, Instagram will be making, and so this way, Facebook, going, into their IPO period, will be able to, because right now from mobile, according to Scoble, which I don't know if it's true or not, but according to what he said, Facebook makes no money right now from mobile at all, nothing. They only make money from their regular, Facebook app on web-based app. But on the mobile, they make no money whatsoever. And so, his comment was that by going this way and buying Instagram for, obscene amount of money, they will be able to all of a sudden gain this huge market of people using it. It's not the users because they already have all these users anyway. So they're definitely not buying it because of the users. But this deal with being able to easily monetize the situation, it makes sense. I mean, to me, it makes sense that they would buy it for that.
It's probably the other way. They probably say, we have 700 million users that might use Instagram that's already monetized. So they might start using their users base might use Instagram more, and that has a monetization for the mobile for them.
I don't know, Jeff. Right now, the deal. I mean, more and more people are talking about the fact that monetization is a huge deal. I mean,
I'm just saying. They
mobile.
since they don't have it. They're going to leverage their current customer base, hoping that they're going to go to Instagram, right? And then that's already monetized. You know what I'm saying? So if they lose, it's going to be a bigger influx. They're going to lose some people, but they're going to gain a lot more from their.
But what your assumption is that they don't have the Instagram people are not on Facebook right now. My guess is that's not the case. My guess is that's exactly where they all are.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're going to pick up a lot more.
But he makes a point about mobile. about
Yeah, that's
mobile
what I'm
and
saying.
kind of
Yeah,
they're not making money
we're
from
saying
mobile.
the same thing, but we're coming at it from different ways, I think.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's an interesting take on the thing, and if that's the case, then, you know, they might be doing the right thing.
Someone else said that it's because Facebook is so much of that is because so much of Facebook is photographs, and that they view them as a threat. Of course, it's all these same people speculating, the same people who spouted all kinds of crazy things about Google Plus, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So who knows? It's everyone else is like, I need a story, Oleg. I need a story by in the next hour about this, and you got to come up with some angle. I mean that's how it works, right?
You mean the $1 billion not an angle?
I bet the link just changed now because I just got we've restored the server. I bet the link's different now. Is it 7? No, it's still the same.
No, it's got to be the same stream. It's going to be the same stream.
Is the link that Jeff posted obviously works?
Yeah.
Now, I thought that when a company was about to go into the IPO, that they were supposed to not make major announcements and definitely not make major financial decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, $1 billion is a pretty major. I mean, like everyone was complaining how Yahoo was suing Facebook, and basically they were implying that Yahoo was only suing Facebook at this moment because Facebook is in a position where they need to, not be dealing with major issues like that. So, I mean, maybe I'm completely off base, but are companies not supposed to be making major financial alterations during
they're not
the
supposed
IPO?
to be bragging or talking about what their financial plans are. But I don't necessarily think, I don't know for sure, you may be right, Anthony, but I don't know if they're not supposed to buy anybody just because they're in this quiet period. Quiet period means you can't make any announcement about any financials, and of course, buying another company would be a financial announcement. Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to spike up the price.
I think you shouldn't. I mean, I think it would be a huge problem if you happen to be in that, which can be a long period of months, right? Of the quiet period.
Right.
If an opportunity presents itself, or let's say a company just declares bankruptcy and they're going to have a liquidation sale in a month, and you're in a 3-month quiet period, you shouldn't be prohibited from purchasing them and lose a great, thing. But yeah, so I guess I think they just can't talk about it.
Well, they probably can't talk about the valuation of the company, but when you spend $1 billion, that speaks to the valuation of the company, right? So
I think what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to put everything in writing and shut up and let people read the reports and not juice it, not try to mislead people or whatever, which the temptation would be to explain stuff. Get a really good report together, put it out there, let everyone read the exact same information, be on the same, literally on the same page, and then they can make a decision, preceding the IPO. But I'm not a stock guy, so I don't know.
Obviously,
and basically,
because they wouldn't do it if they weren't allowed. They wouldn't wreck their IPO. So
And obviously, everyone knows approximately how much money Facebook has because how many people have put invested into the company and what.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to remember it's not just that they're doing a lot of money. They're making a lot of money from advertising.
Yeah.
And for a private company, nobody has any clue how much. It's like Google initially. When Google initially, before they went IPO, they made, I think it was like some $400 million in 1 year, and nobody had a clue they made so much money from ads, from AdWords. This is when they just started.
When we're talking to Craig, no one knew how much Craigslist made. It's just all kind of based on rumors, right?
Listen, let me say something here real quick. Okay, Scott wants to join us, and Scott, it's weird. I'm going to address this because it's too much to type. He can't get in. There's only 7 people in. But they're counting with this new thing they've got. I'll explain what it is. You know how you have the thumbnails underneath? They must be having issues right now.
There must be, because I got 2 things that says broadcasting service.
Yes. But even with the broadcasting service, it's only 9.
That was my fear. It's taking up 2 spots. People are trying to get in and they can't.
But what is that? Do you know what that is?
There's only 9 spots, even with that.
Is Hangout On Air back to 9 again? For a while it was. Then it was 10.
No, but do you know what it means when it says broadcasting service? Is that a user or what is that?
Normally it's listed, but in the chat it'll tell you that that's going on. I notice it closes the chat room whenever it's rebooting this thing. But I have 2 users, the broadcasting service things, which I guess for programming purposes have to be considered part of the Hangout to send it or whatever. But they're now occupying 2 thumbnails that are blank at the bottom.
Right, exactly.
And they're taking up 2 spots.
And what would happen if you blocked one or both of those?
Boy, that's an interesting question. That's an experiment that's probably never been
It's
tried.
not, no, but that if you block, that's not going to do anything, I think, in this Hangout.
Why is there 2 of them?
Yeah, it might be something to do with their system. I wouldn't block it.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I don't want to block, It could be Vic posing, see? He could be in costume as...
Now, when you were talking about advertising and Instagram,
yeah,
I've been an Instagram user for a while, and I really only became interested again when all of my Android friends started being so prolific about posting it and everything right now. I'm looking at my Instagram feed right now. I have never seen an ad on Instagram.
I'm just basically telling you what I read that Scoble said that kind of made sense to me because, yesterday, I don't know what was happening in your stream. My stream, a zillion people that I follow had all this, breaking news, Facebook buys Instagram. It's like it's the story of the century. And I myself was thinking that, this is, what's the big deal? What, people have never shared photos before? They've never followed other people before? This is a brand new thing or something? It's no big deal. Okay, so it came to Android, so that was new. So what? I just didn't get all the excitement.
5 million downloads in 6 days. So I guess...
No, I know, because everybody wanted, all of that. But anyway, but I'm just saying, it's not like sharing pictures is a new concept that we've never seen before. So now it finally comes in this, and they buy it, and everybody just, makes a big deal about them buying it. But again, most people scratching their head in terms of they're announcing that's the case, but they don't know why. That will be
because it's so popular, Oleg. You said it's not like there's not other services. Yeah, there are other phones, and when Steve Jobs came along, and
no, I'm talking about the Facebook buying the thing.
That's what I mean. It's like this evil, frequently criticized site has bought it with a history of buying things and absorbing their talent and shutting them down. That's why people freaked out. They're worried that they're going to ruin this and just absorb it as a Facebook thing.
Yeah, they spend $1 billion to buy a company with 13 employees. It's crazy.
It's not a bad deal for them. Didn't he rehire them all or something?
Yeah, no, they did. And that's one of the things Scoble said, that what they're gaining with this is a very talented mobile team in terms of developers, which, of course, is no small thing.
None of them
It's almost always...
But none of them needs to work.
I'm sorry?
None of them needs to work now. They've just
got
$13 billion, so
right.
they can all just go. I imagine there's contracts like they have to do this and they'll get this.
They have
much
to be there for at least
this.
a year. Probably.
See, that's one of the interesting things about Craigslist. Speaking of that, is that I read somewhere that the guy they're making right now about $30 million a year. I'm sorry, not 30, 13 million a year from what they do with advertising for jobs and stuff. And it's like Craig said, it's a 30-people company, and so it's kind of in some ways similar, but at the same time, he's just sitting on his 13 million for these 30 people, and he's content with that. He doesn't do what Instagram did. Although my guess is if you wanted to sell, he probably could.
He's got enough to do what he wants to do. So, okay, T-Mobile is going to get the, according to GigaOM, they're going to get the iPhone.
That way you guys can get up and get your bags in the morning.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Telos,
No
in
more 9
Lynchburg,
o'clock
is
bags.
getting the iPhone, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess the problem, there's a good article, again, if you're watching this, if you go to my profile on the public post on my profile where the player's playing, to watch the Hangout live, not to join it, but to watch it. I've got a comment in there. The first comment is the topic list, which I'm updating as we go. So if you want to see the links to stories that I'm talking about, just look at the public player, look at the first comment from me, and I'm putting the links in there as we go. Yeah, so T-Mobile's getting them, and apparently it wasn't like that Apple didn't like them or something. Apparently Apple, as long as your network is capable of supporting the iPhone, now that it's not an AT&T exclusive deal, and you're willing to pony up the cash, then you can do it. And apparently some people are already using iPhones on T-Mobile that are either legally or against terms of service unlocked. And so, but I think it's interesting to see this player because they're
Well, it's probably now.
It's a give and take, right? Is the big question is what is the quality of service from T-Mobile? Because I don't know, I have Sprint, and locally here, Sprint's fantastic. But
Well,
what
T-Mobile,
is the deal?
T-Mobile is a Seattle outfit, so it used to be called VoiceStream, is the name of the company.
Mm.
And if you remember, Jimmy Lee Curtis used to advertise it. And they were hot stuff for a while, and then they sold to Deutsche Telekom, bought them. And then later, of course, they became T-Mobile, the U.S. part, and then they wanted to merge with AT&T, and that, the government killed that deal. And so, but they're here in Seattle. They're, fairly prominent here, although, they're definitely the cheapest service around. I mean, that's the cheapest you can get. I mean, they have a unlimited account for like $40 a month, which is nobody matches that. And people that use it, they're relatively happy. Although I've heard from others that the coverage is not that great. I don't know how well the thing works in other parts of the country.
There's some stuff from 22 minutes ago on Mashable. I just saw a tweet on our previous story. Twitter sentiment analysis firm Crimson Hexagon looked at 200,000 tweets that mentioned the deal of Facebook buying Instagram, found that just 12% of them registered any sort of approval. Some 18% were simply in shock, and a whopping 35% were furious, mostly at Facebook. So that's interesting.
Now, I guess AT&T is now starting to unlock phones, so that you legally could take a phone from AT&T to T-Mobile. So maybe that's playing into why T-Mobile all of a sudden is going to get the iPhone, because now they can be on T-Mobile anyways.
Mm-hmm.
What technology does T-Mobile work on? CDMA or GSM?
I don't even know.
I think it's GSM.
T-Mobile's GSM.
It has to be GSM because the AT&T phone's going to T-Mobile.
I thought it was string.
AT&T's GSM.
I thought it was string and cups, but maybe I'm. No, they're upgrading their system. That's in the article too. That they're upgrading their system to handle it, and that's why they're going to do it. But it'll be a low-cost alternative that's cheaper even than Sprint. Sprint's big draw is that they're unlimited data, the only option for that, and T-Mobile is just really inexpensive. But I don't know what kind of quality you're getting.
No. But see, one of the things, the reason AT&T wanted them is because of their 4G spectrum, which is fairly substantial in my understanding. And so that's what the reason AT&T wanted to get them is because of 4G. They could have this immediate additional 4G infrastructure to compete with everybody else. So I think one of the things I heard from, I think Tom Rolfson said, that why he left Sprint, because it sucks early, is because it's like a snail. Their 4G offering is just slower than slow. And so maybe that's the reason why, because they have superior 4G capabilities and span, maybe with iPhone coming there, it'll be able to handle it, and maybe that's what they're doing.
The 4G technology as it is highly debated because a few days back there was an article in Wall Street Journal from Walt Mossberg trying to explain. I think these companies, whatever they do faster than 3G, the next generation, whatever technology they're adapting, everybody claims that is 4G. But maybe there is a correct explanation of how much speed, bandwidth you're looking at in 4G. Today I read that ideally your 4G connection should be at least 10 times faster than your 3G.
Right, and there was some post from Guy Kawasaki showing the actual, from speedtest.net, or testspeed.net, whatever, no, I think it's speedtest.net, showing that it's 10 times faster. But it's in LTE markets.
Mm-hmm.
Running it under 4G LTE, not just 4G like HSPA, whatever they call it, plus like AT&T has, what I have on my phone, which is nowhere near as fast. But LTE is apparently that fast. Yeah, it's about 10 times.
LTE is a true 4G technology. I don't know. I can't remember what the organization is that keeps track of this. But there is an organization that sets the standards for what is 3G, what's 2.5G, what's 3G, and what's 4G. And I know originally the 4G standard was higher than it is now. But in order for the United States to originally be officially a 4G, have 4G networks, this organization changed the standards. So basically, in the next year, everyone is going to technically have 4G networks.
Do you really believe that the fact that AT&T is willing to unlock the older phones is gonna help a lot of people? Ideally, I noticed that a lot of smartphone users try to kind of change the phones every 2 years. Or maybe it's because they use it a lot, or maybe it's because there's a new phone out there, which is probably much more cutting edge.
It's
So
it's the upgrade cost.
Yeah, of course.
New
Yeah.
phone
It's
cost.
the upgrade. And also keep in mind that even though they come up with LTE everywhere, if you don't have a 4G LTE phone, you can't use it. It's not going to do any good for you. So
That
people
al-
have to upgrade.
that also makes me ask, those who have unlimited data plans from AT&T, are they going to be able to sign up to 4G with the same kind of unlimited data plans?
It's a little bit more expensive. You get a little bit more data, like AT&T does. I know they offered me this deal. But so it's like, I think I'm paying $25 for 2 gigabytes right now.
But that's not theoretically unlimited, right?
But then it's not. No, it's 2 gigabytes per month. And then they have another plan that was going to be, I think it was like $35 for twice that much for 4 gigabytes, and that's what they offer to LTE phones. That's what you get with an LTE phone if you want a data plan. But if you look at the even unlimited plans, AT&T, they had this case and they paid the guy $900 for throttling and stuff. So because they have some AT&T people who have unlimited plans, but they're kind of phasing it out. The reality is that even if you have any kind of unlimited plan, not unlimited, any kind of limited plan, you still use Wi-Fi mostly because you don't want to use your regular minutes. And I have 2 gigabytes. So far I've used in the last 2 weeks. I've used about less than a gig.
Yeah,
That's all, even though I use the phone constantly with data, constantly.
One of the beauties of Verizon, if you had the unlimited plan, it's grandfathered in for the 4G if you're on that original plan. So you get that grandfathered in for unlimited for the same amount.
But
Yeah.
do they start throttling like how AT&T does
Right.
if you go past
Yeah.
like 3 gig or something?
I don't know. Yeah, they probably would have to, but again, even if you had a higher data plan, they would throttle you after a certain amount. So what the heck?
Oh,
Okay, there's another story. It's on Gawker. It's their lead story right now. They apparently have a mole at Fox News Channel. They said it's a long-term employee, and he released some, I guess, previously not released to the public footage of Mitt Romney prepping for a Sean Hannity interview. Disclosure, I've had conversations with Sean Hannity in the past. Anyway, so what's interesting is the guy trashes Fox News Channel. And it's announcing our newest hire, a current Fox News Channel employee. They're calling him the Fox Mole. And I've added this link, or you can just go to Gawker.com. You'll see it. Or just go under the... If you're watching this, like, months from now or a week from now, it'll be, I have a link to it. I've got a link to it now in the comments. I'll have a link wherever this video is. But he said, the final straw for me last year, oddly, it wasn't anything that TV turned me rogue, though plenty of things on our air had pushed me in that direction over the years, but what finally broke me was a story on the Fox Nation. You're not a frequenter of Fox Nation, and if you're reading Gawker, it's a pretty safe bet you're not. I can describe it for you. It's like an unholy mashup of the Drudge Report, the Huffington Post, and a Klan meeting. Word around the office is that the site was actually the brainchild of Bill O'Reilly's chief stalker and Gawker pal Jesse Waters. And he says the Nation aggregates the site, the Fox Nation. I'm reading from this Gawker story. I'll just do a couple paragraphs. I don't want to over-aggregate. The Nation aggregates news stories, gives them provocative headlines, and invites commenters to weigh in. The commenters are fascinating, actually, if you can detach yourself enough to view them as sort of the id of the conservative movement. Of course, if you can't detach yourself, then you're going to come away with a diminished view of human decency. Because holy moly, these people do not like the black president. I'm not saying they dislike him because he's black, but a lot of the comments, unprompted, mention the fact that he is black. So what would you say, Dr. Freud? I can only imagine that the hunt at Fox News is second only to the search in the Caine Mutiny for who stole the cherries or strawberries. This is wild. What a coup, if this is true.
Exactly. If this is true.
True.
Do they show
And as
the
we've
video?
learned, not everything you read on the interweb tube
Exactly. Especially
turns
from
out to be
Gawker.
accurate.
Do they have the video? All they
They've
have to do is show the video.
They've got a They've got the video of Romney and Hannity, and they're talking about ties or something. But he just showed some.
The guy still works there?
Yeah, he's not saying who he is. He's going to occasionally weigh in on things.
No, but where's the video? I mean, anybody can say anything. Where's the video proving it?
No. He's mentioning comments here. The video that's there is just some secret thing that wasn't aired, but they've got it on Gawker right there. But just I can only imagine they take a beating, right?
Fox News?
Yeah, but I got to tell you, they're a mixture of commentary and news, and when they do, the morning show is clearly right wing, and their evening shows are clearly right wing, but they'll have the token liberal,
Yeah.
But they're clearly right wing, and admittedly so. O'Reilly who calls Hannity like a Reagan type conservative. O'Reilly doesn't toe the party line. O'Reilly's more a pragmatist who's generally conservative, mostly on social issues and economic issues. But
he calls himself traditionalist.
Yeah, which is a different form, but he doesn't toe the party line on everything. He's not a blind supporter of everything the Republicans do.
I don't think Hannity is either, even though I agree he's a lot more into Republicans than O'Reilly would be, for example. But Hannity doesn't always, he criticizes people even though he's clearly right-wing. There's no question.
Sensational journalism.
But like Shepard Smith, when they actually do news, typically, I don't think it's too far slanted to the right. Shepard Smith, in fact, I'm not even convinced is a Republican. What do you guys think?
Who?
Shep Smith, the guy who does like the
7 o'clock and 3 o'clock.
Yeah, he does the actual news show. I think he's pretty CNN type, maybe a few racier headlines, but I think he's pretty straightforward, down the middle, if not slightly to the left side.
Well, one of the things that I've learned is not to get too excited about these people. I'm sorry, not to get too excited about some of these sour grape people who leave one institution and graduate to another one. I've seen too many of them that were just, they had an axe to grind. So, but it certainly is definitely worth watching to see what comes out. But I wouldn't.
What's fascinating is that he's deep throat, Bruce. That he's still there. If what they're saying is true, he's a current employee who's writing this in secret, like a spy. That's what makes it news. So, if an ex-Fox employee doesn't like them anymore, that former employee criticizes former employer is not news at all, but the fact that he's a spy.
What would you consider Joe Lieberman then? If I'm just kind of curious. That's
true. Yeah. It's probably Alan Colmes. Alan Colmes writes anonymous column for Gawker.
He's still on there. Different shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all for money. It's
It's supposed to be, Jeff. It's a business.
Yeah, it is a business. Exactly.
Oh, they're genius. Yeah. In the same way, look at MSNBC. They've gone from the pedophile shows and the cop stuff and to a very compelling, intelligent lineup of liberal commentators. I think who was it that wrote the foreword? The prominent conservative. Someone big like Rush Limbaugh or Dick Cheney or some respected conservative who wrote a foreword to Rachel Maddow's new book, saying that it presented some really interesting, compelling arguments about how in war it's too sanitized. It's not like the nations at war. In the old days, we did without butter and we used margarine. We invented margarine so the soldiers could get this, and we darkened our windows, and we sacrificed, and now it's space invaders on TV, and it doesn't, unless you have a soldier in the military in the war, you're not really impacted that much.
There's no burden.
There's no liberty. There's no freedom tax raised to pay for the war. None of that stuff. We just borrow more. And so she wrote this book. I haven't read it, but I've heard it praised. And she, of course, is a very intelligent liberal, as like a George Will would be an intelligent. But I don't even know if you can pigeonhole him. But I think both networks are genius, and they're blatantly partisan.
They are, but they're not.
News
they're not equally popular, though. Even though they're partisan, they're not equally popular.
Well, there's a whole lot of competition for the liberal ear. There's not much competition for the conservative ear because they're just figuring it out. But when someone else Fox will remain where it is, Oleg, until someone else comes along with another conservative network and does as good a job at hiring hosts.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
That'd be the Rick Santorum network.
No, but why do you say there's too much liberal for liberal ear? Where do you see which networks are you talking about? I'm talking about networks. I'm not talking about just some little newspapers.
I would say I would classify like Frontline and a lot of PBS programming as.
It is definitely left wing, no question.
I would say MSNBC clearly is. I would say.
Look at the difference when you look at the the NewsHour, right? They do have Brooks and Shields as the two commentators. One's conservative, one's liberal, and they give a fair and balanced report of what's going on in the political world. I don't subscribe to the PBS is funded by Democratic liberals.
Do you consider CNN to be politically neutral?
Do I?
No, definitely not.
No, I don't consider anyone's neutral. Actually,
I'll tell you what. I think it depends on the person. I think it depends on the person. I watched every Republican debate, as you know. I live blogged them all, and Wolf Blitzer, I think, did just about the best job of any of them. Really mixing it up, asking good questions that caused them. It was great. He just threw the rules out, and he said, if someone says this, look at this, and he did equal time. I thought he was right down the middle. And I don't know if he's going to vote for Romney or Obama in the next election, right?
Are you kidding me, Dan?
I would guess Obama.
Me, right?
If you held a Bruce Turner's gun to my head, then I would say he would probably vote for Obama if I had to choose. But I think they're fairly. They're more moderate than MSNBC. I would say they're left of center.
Yeah, they're left of center. They're not balanced.
But they're not far left of center.
They're not MSNBC. But look at the ratings. Look at the ratings for April 10th. You see the ratings?
But look, CNN, MSNBC, PBS, all the network news broadcasts are all left of center.
Right.
They're either center or left of center, depending.
So you're saying that if you add all those up together, then you end up with something similar to FNC. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, if you look at broadcast networks, every single one of them, I think, beats Fox.
Oh, you mean the ABC, NBC, and CBS?
Right. The cable networks don't.
Yeah, but you're comparing. Then you're not really comparing. I mean, if you compare apples to apples, then you don't look at cable.
How many people still use rabbit ears? To a degree, we are comparing apples and apples.
Yeah, they don't even show for whatever reason. I don't know that maybe because it is not cable net channel.
I mean, there's what's the other? Name the other prominent conservative news channel, which is why Fox is on top.
Because they discovered a niche and they ran with it.
Yeah, and they're great. And I'm surprised that there hasn't been other competitors.
For the politically ignorant, how long has been Fox on the right?
How come nobody else is competing with Fox News Channel?
They've been there since Inception 3.
How long was this?
At least, I don't know, 10.
Because all the media companies are liberal and no one will let them in. That's part of the
money
reason.
to be made. Money's nonpartisan. If I opened a newspaper in San Francisco, I would most likely not go with the right-wing paper.
Right, but also then keep another thing in mind. If you look at it from a perspective of like radio, for example, where right-wing definitely slams left-wing without any question. And when they tried to do like Care America, they failed. So how do you explain that?
I mean, look, ESPN started. They were the first. I remember, in fact, I have a post when I did. It was for me doing the radio in the 80s. I just posted it, Blast from the Past. Here's me doing a radio news show. And one of the news stories was that tomorrow a new all-business cable channel will be born. It's called ESPN. CNBC, the Consumer News and Business Channel.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was doing the news on WLVA, a station that Bruce, I'm sure, will remember, which stands for Lynchburg, Virginia, and is now, I guess, defunct. But it was the day before CNBC started. Now Fox Business Channel has come along, and they are not doing well compared to CNBC.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got the same guys, Neil Cavuto. They got all the the Rupert Murdoch News Corp backing behind them, but there's a strong competitor there that CNBC is viewed as very good, and they're conservative. So I'm thinking, I look at this and I'm thinking the reason Fox News is doing so well is because if you're a conservative like my mom and dad, and like I am on many issues, and like Oleg is, probably when he opens Chrome, 7 tabs open up with various FoxNews.com sections. But like I'm just saying that they have no competition. There's no other place for good, well done, entertaining, and conservative content. So there are other sites and stuff like that, but for television channels, if you're looking for generally conservative stuff that's presented in an entertaining way,
nobody else does it. You're right.
That's it. So if you're the only game in town, if you're the only bar in town, you're going to get all the drunks.
Was Wall Street Journal conservative before? Dan, was Wall Street Journal conservative? I mean, is it now, and was it before?
It has always been, because naturally, on business issues, certainly, any business publication is going to have mainly business readers, and they're going to be fiscally business conservative.
But
only not going to have any readers.
But only on the op-eds, right? They never actually try to push the news. I mean, if you look at Karl Rove or anybody who actually writes the op-eds on Wall Street Journal, I agree. But the way Fox News presents news as opposed to Wall Street Journal presents news, is a big difference.
Yeah, but I think clearly any business newspaper that wants to succeed is going to be conservative.
One has a sense of history behind it, though, right? And they have a way of doing business that they want to keep going forward. And Fox is new, and they have this other way of doing business, and that's going to be their culture and their history going forward. So it's two different models, really.
They're going after a niche audience.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's not, Jeff, it's the exact same thing. CNN looked and said, there's no all-news channel. And Ted Turner said, you know what, there isn't one. And so he created one. And they joked about it. They said,
MTV,
they called it the Chicken Noodle Network.
MTV, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. But
No, that was Bill Clinton.
I'm just surprised that the most successful news channel out there doesn't have any copycats. That just boggles the mind. If I had the money and had a cable channel, I would seriously consider going after Fox News Channel.
But they're his financial news network, right?
Yeah, but no one's competed with ESPN until 10 years ago.
Yeah, but they do at the local level.
Yeah, but on national, but we're talking about the space that they occupy. CNN is actually more profitable than Fox News because of their international presence.
You got to get the airwaves. You got to get all these companies to buy your content. You got to have all these people that would be, it's a tough thing. I mean,
Fox News started by paying cable companies to carry it. Instead of getting paid like other channels, like ESPN might get, $10, $15 a person.
Well,
or I don't know what
not
it
paying anybody now.
Fox News Channel gets paid now. When they started, they paid cable systems to carry them. So we will pay you this many dollars per subscriber per month if you add our channel. And they did. And then it caught on. It was a big gamble. It was an expensive big gamble, and it worked.
But would you say they really started, Fox really started as a sports network and then branched out. They started, broadcasting sports at a limited basis, and then they got the money. And then they started breaking out into the different network.
Rupert Murdoch has money. I mean, they started out.
They didn't start out right off the gate. Fox. I think they started out. I could be wrong, but I've been wrong on so many different things. But I think they got the NFL contract first. And that kind of.
Are you talking broadcast?
Broadcast network. I think you're confusing the Fox Broadcast Network with Fox News Channel, which is what we're talking about.
Yeah. But it's both under the same umbrella.
They also have the Fox Soccer Channel. That's what I get.
So I'm just saying, it started out. They first seeded the idea of Fox through broadcast sports, and then they branched out. They said, oh yeah, well, we have 16 affiliates. Okay, now let's have, we're adding this, and they found that niche. They're smart people, but they're sensational. It's sensational. That's how they win. I couldn't listen to Hannity all the time. My brain would explode.
Well, that's why he only does it 3 hours a day, to make sure you stay alive, Jeff.
Anyway,
All those
okay.
guys.
One thing is for sure, they're
I
brilliant
got to
at what
tell
they
you,
do.
if I was looking at a news channel, if I didn't have any bias, I was just looking for if I didn't have any agenda, and if I was just looking for an opportunity to capitalize on a niche that was being underserved, I would say right now you've got a bunch of moderate and liberal networks that do news, and you've got one dominant conservative that has been criticized repeatedly in the same way that Apple is. I draw an analogy to Fox News and Apple, even though they're probably polar opposites on any political issue, but they're both very good at what they do. They're both very popular among their core group, almost religiously so, and they're both frequently criticized because, A, they're at the top of their game, and so they're naturally going to draw criticism from their political opponents or business opponents, and B, because they are perhaps a little arrogant because they're dominant, and they ignore things too long. They don't put out little fires, and they allow them to become forest fires before they put them out. And I just look at that situation, and I can draw an analogy to Apple and Fox News, and I can say, man, if you could, but it'd be a whole lot easier to take on Fox News than it would be to take on Apple. Because
I got an idea for you.
It would be instant. You wouldn't do it in a week. But if you hired the right people, if you could find the conservative people who are as good as a Rachel Maddow or a Bill O'Reilly, and build them up, someone as good as Olbermann when he's not completely insane, then you could really build a good conservative network. Because none of these guys were famous before
Paul Gigot,
Fox News Channel.
Right? Paul Gigot, he's.
So Dan, here's the deal.
All these guys.
You got the mic, you got the Google Hangouts, start your own show.
Yeah.
I need about $150 million to. I'm just gonna poop out a cable channel. It's really easy.
No, on Google Plus. Start a show on Google Plus.
Yeah, you got it now, man. I mean, now you just.
No, look at it. I don't have a partisan agenda, but Oprah has shown us that it doesn't matter how popular or good you are, and she was the most popular and best talk show host out there. You cannot just crap out a cable channel. It's very
I could have told you that.
You can do it on YouTube, do your own channel, do the same thing, just do it online. Why do you keep sticking to TV?
All right. Okay, Michael Arrington drama. Has anyone followed this, the latest thing? My question is this. Okay, let me give the basic facts real quick. I guess Arrington, according to the things I've read, right, which may or may not be accurate, apparently he was contracted when he left that he would still do a speech at the Disrupt with M.G. Siegler. And that Pando Daily, which is Sarah Lacey's new startup and site, which had Arrington on the board, I guess they partially funded it. They got mad and they kicked him off the board, and then he wrote about it. And all I'm thinking to myself is, it's interesting that as we approach TechCrunch Disrupt, and they just let him post again. They gave him his posting privileges back on TechCrunch for the Disrupt thing. I'm thinking, my first reaction was, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't it interesting that right before Disrupt conference starts, there's a bunch of drama that causes news that draws attention to the Disrupt conference? Is that a fair observation, or is that purely coincidental that there would be some news-making, earth-shattering drama, crazy stuff going on right before a major conference that they're going to try to get attention? And
Or don't the people that are going to Disrupt already have their tickets, like,
I don't know. I'm purely circling the tarmac 10,000 feet in the air. I have no idea. This is just crazy, the latest in the very entertaining Michael Arrington saga. I find the guy fascinating. And I think TechCrunch was a lot better before. Anybody care about this, or am I just wasting time?
You mean TechCrunch is better when the founder of the company was there? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I'm trying to tell you that. I think it's they still have good scoops, and they have good sources, and they still have a dominant or very popular destination site that can generate good leaks to them in order to get on their site. But I do think it was I miss Michael Arrington being on there. I miss
I
the
mean,
drama that they would throw in there once in a while. Do you?
I mean, seriously, how many people are left from that company that were there from, when Michael Arrington was there? Like, MG
Most.
Siegler's left. That girl Alexis, I don't even know who she is, but she's left. And how many others have left because Michael Arrington left?
Yeah, I mean, it was
I mean,
any
it's not
startup in the
technical,
initial
is my point.
stages. Any startup in the initial stages with such a strong personality built around the founder can be a cult of personality to a degree, and it's your friends, and you develop good friendships, and then when they fire the boss, and other people think you might be disgruntled, and if you're at a very successful media organization like that, or blog, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to be constantly hit up with offers.
Well, I mean, and there's companies that have products, and the products are products, and then there's companies that have personalities, and the personalities are what drive it.
It's called the talent.
Fox News, they have personalities, they don't have products. TechCrunch, they have personalities, they don't have products. Apple, they have products, they don't have personalities.
No,
and so.
Yeah, no, I think it's a combination of both. They have a personality, and then they have a formula, right? That they kind of deliver this stuff with. So
it's a weird mixture, though, isn't it, Jeff? Sometimes it looks like just a rehashed press release, and then other times it's this incredibly lengthy, in-depth thing, like almost like Giga-Ohm, except not that long. And then other times it's this. There used to be more MG Siegler type hard-hitting opinion pieces, like an example. Nobody gives a damn about your clout score. Just an incredibly a headline that you're absolutely going to read that article and see what they think. What do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a great headline. And TechCrunch used to be. I'm not bashing them at all. I'm just saying it's different. It's gone from apples to oranges, and maybe whatever. Maybe one is more profitable, but it's changed, and graveyards are full of indispensable people, right? So
yeah, exactly.
It's just interesting to watch this as it goes.
Whenever you think you are indispensable, that means you're ready to leave. It's time to go, because it's never going to be the same.
And to the folks trying to join this, I apologize, but there's some weird glitch, and they can't. And I hope the recording's not lost, because it's been a pretty interesting thing. Okay, the last thing, and then we can go back to Zimmerman, because I don't think Ole got to weigh in on that if he chooses to.
2 seconds, because I got to run to delivery. What do you want to talk about Zimmerman?
Okay, well, do you have any thoughts? Did you see anything today on the press conference from the lawyers quit? I'll give you the 30-second summary. The lawyers said they can't represent him anymore because he's talking to the media against their advice. He's talking to the prosecutors directly against their advice, and he's not returning their phone calls. Also, he said that what happened was that the police did not tell him not to follow. They said, we don't need you to do that. And then they asked him for the address where he was so the cops could come. He got out of his car. He pursued him or walked down the street to see what address was so he could tell the cops. Turned around, went back to his car, and Trayvon Martin, who is not the 12-year-old boy you see in the picture, but a 6-foot-tall 17-year-old at this point, came up behind him, said, "You have a problem?" He turned around and said, "No, I don't." He said, "You do now." And he broke his nose and lacerated his back of his head. And they took him to the hospital, cleaned him up, patched him up, and then the video was at the police station, the surveillance video that shows him looking okay. That was after he'd been cleaned up by the police, and that he did indeed have a broken nose. And that what happened was he was punched, whatever, knocked to the ground, and then he shot the guy because his life was in danger, according to his now former or voluntarily suspended attorney. So it's a really compelling and interesting thing. I recommend, in the link that I put underneath this post, I recommend you watch that press conference if you're interested in this case. And again, this is just one. This is the view of the former advocate for Zimmerman, right? So it's one side of the story. And of course, Trayvon can't offer his side because he's deceased. And he said that that the reason they didn't charge him is that this law says you have to, in order to defend yourself with force under this law, with deadly force, you have to be in the area legally. You have to not have started the physical confrontation. In other words, if I throw the first punch at you, I cannot use deadly force against you under this law. you have to assault me first. And that there was no evidence presented that was contrary to Zimmerman's account. And that's why they can't charge him. That's what the attorney's argument is. Okay, again, I'm not saying that's what the attorney's saying. And we've heard all kinds of millions of things. So if anyone wants to, well, I take 30 seconds. If anyone wants to chime in here, Oleg first, because you got to go on this, because that's kind of the lead story. But go ahead. And then we talk about Hillary's thing. Go ahead, Oleg.
My feeling is that, you know, everybody jumped on the guy, on Zimmerman, I mean, in the beginning. Like, he was definitely a stone-cold killer, and they showed the, like you indicated, they showed the picture of the guy that's a total saint to everybody, and everybody jumped, and everybody immediately basically convicted, crucified the guy without hearing. And then, of course, you have the NBC doctoring up the evidence basically the way they showed it. And so the whole country went up in uproar. You know, it's a hate crime, killing, this and this and that. And now we get to find out that maybe it wasn't exactly like it was presented. In fact, it was definitely not like it was presented. And at the same time, you know, all these other things come out with the witness, and, you know, they enhance the video, and the video does show that the guy got beat up, and on and on and on. So it's, you know, I think I agree with people that made some comments on TV the other day that, it's definitely a complicated case, because this deal with protecting yourself, self-defense and all that is a difficult issue based on all these things. I think the whole jumping on Zimmerman, the whole racial thing is completely ridiculous, even though for a lot of people it's a way to make both noise and money, so they're doing it because they can, which I think is totally just pathetic that they're doing that. And no question, it's, you know, too bad the kid got killed. I mean, no question about that. It would have been a lot better if he was just wounded and, you know, basically everything worked out that way, but, you know, it worked out the way it worked out. So my feeling is that I want to wait and see until, you know, this deal with grand jury, them not doing the grand jury, is an indication to me that there is more to Zimmerman's story than has been shown on TV. That's one thing. The deal with what his lawyer said, the fact that he has been talking to prosecution, tells me, again, that the guy is not as guilty as everybody paints him to be, because, you know, he would be totally done, I mean, total dunce, totally stupid to make any kind of comments. I mean, everybody knows that they shouldn't be saying anything when they get in any kind of legal trouble.
He's in a crazy situation, isn't he? I mean, he's like...
Well, but in this particular instance, if he is absolutely positive he is not at fault, I don't see why he would not talk to prosecution, because he knows that he's innocent.
Oh, and God. So, no.
Sure.
You should never, no.
I know you shouldn't, but then I'm just saying that would be a little bit more of a reason for me to believe him. The fact that he does talk to prosecution, answers the questions, is because he doesn't think he's done anything that shouldn't have been done. I'm sure he's not proud of it. That's
true, but there's a lot of reasons not to, but you're always tempted to if you're truly innocent. But remember, they're not after, you know, they're out, they're not your friend. They're out. I mean,
no, I understand all that, but I'm just saying all of these little factors to me, I'm just giving you my opinion, tell me that it's completely not what the media has been portraying initially, and, you know, all the, you know, Black Panthers on the guy and everything else. I mean, it's just crazy what they build this into right now without having all the facts.
The problem is the system, Oleg. Right now they can't release all the information because there's a potential that a charge could be made, or the feds could make it a hate crime, and then there'd be charges on the federal level.
Right.
And so they can't release the evidence yet because that could taint a potential jury pool. But all of the stuff is being framed now. You know, it's the old thing I get all the time, like we made an error on page 1, but then you correct it on page 13 or whatever, and we don't do that. But that's a wrap. I mean, formulation, you know, it's like in people's minds, the history is being written now, not when the truth comes out in 6 months, however it may be determined what the fact was. But the facts will eventually come out. Either he'll be charged and the facts will come out in a case, or he won't be charged and they won't be able to keep it secret anymore, you know, through the evidentiary exclusions for FOIA.
Right.
So we'll find out eventually. But so much damage has been done. If the guy's innocent, at one prescient point, Oleg, that the attorney said today, and it's really interesting because I hadn't thought about this or I hadn't put them together. They're using years-old pictures of both guys. They're using a picture of a 5-year-old picture when he was 12 years old, little boy, and now he's a 6-foot-tall guy, or was. And they're using a several-year-old picture of Zimmerman when he was arrested for something for which he was later exonerated. It was a mugshot.
Right.
Now he looks like he's in a coat and tie, like when I'm made up for Google Plus Week, you know. But then he was like, you know, arrested for something, and he was found not guilty, or it was however it happened, he was exonerated. But both are pictures that led to this description of this giant man beating up this little boy, when the lawyer's saying it was actually, he was simply going to get the address for the cops at their request, and as he was walking back to the vehicle, this 6-foot-tall 17-year-old broke his nose, threw him to the ground, and was kicking his head or whatever. And so, again, this is from the lawyer. You know, we don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just an entirely different portrait than when we first. This really is a teaching lesson for all of us. Or what's that phrase they use? A teaching moment or something for all of us on so many levels, about jumping the gun, about, you know, it's either a lesson about race relations, it's about jumping the gun, and we went all through all this with OJ when I was arguing with you know, my black friends about whether he did it, and it was like as the evidence came out, and it was like, how can you say he was not guilty, you know?
Well,
and we would have this similar conversations about this sort of thing.
Right. No, definitely no question. I totally agree with you. I mean, people jumped the gun, and people totally went in the completely wrong direction in many, many cases in terms of where this thing is and what it is. And I think it's ridiculous. I mean, I think it's, you know,
you can't blame him, though. You can't blame him with the media coverage.
Right, and I'm blaming the media, mostly. The media for starting it, and then blaming these other organizations for actually jumping actively into the media and crucifying the guy without actually getting the evidence and seeing what exactly happened.
In the end, what will boil down, in my opinion, is whose voice was screaming on the tape. I think that is the most crucial evidence that we have not heard.
If you were to believe the father of Zimmerman, which, you know, you can believe if you want, you don't have to. But the guy on TV, I heard him say that when they listened and they said that the screaming voice was coming from Trayvon, the guy says, me and the whole family knew instantly that this screaming was, you know, the voice was of Zimmerman himself. It was not Trayvon. That's what.
Yeah, I think and that's something science can tell us.
Absolutely. But that's what I'm saying. It shows again how media totally screwed this thing up by falsifying what actually happened.
Your food's going to get cold, Oleg.
No, it's not my food. It's somebody else's. So
Oleg, thanks so much. You're welcome. I'm going to be in Jason Salas's Hangout in 20 minutes, so I've got to tie this up soon. But Oleg, thanks for joining us.
Take care.
I got one last topic I want to hit, and then you guys can do a free-for-all after that.
Before you go, do they have a recorded copy of that screen?
You could Google it, audio Zimmerman tape, or you know what I mean. And it's a shame. I don't think there's any. It'd be great if we could get some audio of Zimmerman. I haven't seen him in any old audio or anything, and he's now in hiding, of course, like Salman Rushdie sorta. And but yeah, so I don't know. But I'm sure that science can come up with a strong probability of who was screaming. I mean, this isn't rocket science in 2012. But the last thing I want that's on our list here is this site called Texts from Hillary. It's absolutely hysterical. It's a Tumblr blog, and what they do is they have the first shot is whoever, like texting her, Hillary Clinton, and then they have this video of Hillary in her airplane with her sunglasses on, looking, you know, she's just serious. And she responds, and they're absolutely funny. Jon Stewart asks, you know, can you do the Daily Show this week? And she says, I've already booked Colbert, and she's all serious. You have to watch it. So I've got a link underneath this. It's texts, plural, texts from HillaryClinton.tumblr.com, and it's an absolutely hysterical site. And apparently, the guys who make the site, she submitted one for them, a fake one, and because she was apparently a big fan, because it's a really funny site. It really is. I mean, if you're right wing or left wing, you'll think this is funny. So anyway, I just thought I wanted to turn you guys on to this, and if you have any thoughts on this or the Zimmerman thing or whatever, chime in and have at it. We got about 10 more minutes, and then I got to get ready for Jason Salas in Guam. I'm doing his hangout on Hangouts. I guess it's an incestuous topic, but we're going to talk about how to do shows on Hangouts, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's at Jason Salas, S-A-L-A-S. On his profile, look for that. I'll be in that.
He just made a
Starting
post,
at
I
9
think.
Eastern in about 20 minutes. So what do you guys think about this? I think this is pretty hysterical. This is texts from HillaryClinton.tumblr.com.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I think I've seen it before.
Look for it.
I think it's pretty cool that she liked it and submitted one.
Oh, she's a hip lady, huh?
Well, the pictures are hysterical. They've got all these different shots of her sitting there grimacing on her airplane. It's funny. It's one of these weird memes or something.
I think I saw this like 2 weeks back, and I submitted this link on Google Plus as well. But it's hilarious, I agree. Where did you submit the post, Dan? I mean, the comment?
Do what?
Did you put the comment somewhere?
Which comments? What do you mean?
I mean the link.
Yeah, if you look on the public player post on my profile, the very first comment is the topic list, and I've got a link there. For anyone watching, go to my profile, danmcdermott.net or gplus.to/McDermott, and on the post that says Hangouts on Air with a player button, you'll see the links for everything we've talked about, and you can go to that. And then also,
Interesting.
if this records successfully and I post it, then I'll put the same list there. So then you'll be looking under the player list. Or the YouTube video. It's complicated how it ends up in so many places and you're copying and pasting. You'd think in 2012 we'd have some method, you know. Scott's finally in. Oh, my God.
Thank you.
The elusive Scott.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Not much. It took a while to get in after about 4,000 clicks, but I'm here.
Oh, man, you're one of those F5 people. Scott, weigh in on any of these topics we've talked about. I'll be back in about a minute, and so you guys have a free-for-all here. And I don't think Mike's talked at all. So, Scott, you lead off, and then whatever you think.
You know, I just kind of caught a bit of it. I was doing some work while I was trying to get in, and so I'm just going to let everybody else go for it today. I just appreciate finally realizing that maybe Google Plus works okay once in a while. Is everybody just really quiet?
All right, that didn't work. Sreek, what do you think? Sreek and Mike, why don't you guys...
I was going through the text messages. What is that? What is the question, Scott?
Oh, just what do you guys think about any of our topics? Just weigh in. Cover for me for a minute.
I had a question about getting into the Hangout. I clicked on join this Hangout, and it says the Hangout, the party's over. The only way I was able to get in was to go into the link, Dan, that you posted in the timeline.
There was a weird glitch. I was getting error message because it's being broadcast, and I was getting an error message that the broadcast has ended or reset. The server's reset. It's okay now, but if this keeps repeating, then close it and start a new one. That happened twice. So I didn't want to have to close it and start a new one. And if you look here, what's weird is on the bottom where the thumbnails are, if you hover, you've got broadcasting service occupying 2 thumbnails, and the first thumbnail is just missing. I guess that was Anthony. But see ya, Sreek. But yeah, that's weird. But I don't know. So I guess they're having some sort of issues tonight.
Yeah, I just happened to see the link that you posted, so that's the only way I was able to get in.
That was the same way I got in also, Dan. I had to go back to that link that you posted under the comments. Each time you would refresh, we would try to join the Hangout, and it would actually, I sent you a screenshot of what I actually was getting each time. It just told us that the Hangout was done. It was over. So that was cool. Thanks. Hey, thanks for posting new data too about Google and Facebook and so forth. I thought that was good. It was good to see that. I'm not sure if Google really is truly on the top. I mean, as far as especially in the social media, but
it was an interesting question, and I'm not sure what they were saying there, Scott. Because are they saying that popularity? Are they saying like I use them, or are they saying I have a positive impression of them?
You
know what I mean?
That's a good question, Dan. They wasn't too explainable on that one. And what I see is most likely that they're saying Google in a whole using all their products are what they're talking about. I don't think they're even coming close to talking about their social network right now.
Any thoughts? I don't know how to pronounce your name. I've hung up. Is it Pio? Piao? How do you pronounce it?
Yeah, Pio.
Pio.
I'm from Italy. I think we hung out before.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was looking at your screen. I missed the question. Can you repeat it for me, please?
Did you ask me or Scott? I'm sorry.
I don't. I'm sorry. I was looking in your stream then, and I just reshared that Hillary posted you made, and I wasn't even looking at the screen. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, I was just I thought that was pretty funny, and but we talked we talked about the George Zimmerman case. His attorneys withdrawing today because they said that he was speaking to the media and the prosecutors, but he wasn't returning their phone calls. We talked about the popularity poll where Google topped Apple, Facebook, and Twitter was the least popular, and why is Facebook buying Instagram? That T-Mobile is going to get is going to be iPhone ready, and we'll be getting some iPhones. Gawker has a spy at Fox News Channel, and he's writing a column for Gawker, which is in trashing Fox News while he's still working there. It's like a deep throat story. Watergate. The Michael Arrington drama. He's posting again at TechCrunch for Disrupt, and he's been removed from the Pando Daily blog. And then this funny text from Hillary's site. So that's what kind of we went over today.
I'll take the one with the popularity of Google, if you don't mind.
Please talk, and you guys join in, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, and I think that it was coming to this sooner or later. As Facebook, I feel since I joined Google Plus back in August, I've gone back to Facebook maybe 2 times. I think everything that you need to have is here, and the plus here on Google is, of course, are these Hangouts that gives you the perspective of talking to somebody and getting to know them. Like, for example, you Mike and Scott, I never hung out with you, and I'm here from Italy talking to you, and if we have enough time to spend, like, say, 5 minutes together, I'm sure that we'll know each other a lot better than if we never met before. And if we were on Facebook, we would never know what our faces were, or something like that.
That's the benefit of social media. Well, it's kind of late over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost 3 o'clock here, as a matter of fact. But this is the time where I can interact with the USA very, with the time span. So it's better for me to be out here in the night than to be in the morning.
I'm looking at the wall in your room over to your right. Is that a curved wall? Looks like it has a curved shelf at the top.
Yeah, is a roof made like that, and it has some painting back down there.
And what room are you in your house?
No, this is not my house. This is a hotel.
You're in a hotel. Is this the hotel room, or is this the lobby, or the?
This is like the bar with the Wi-Fi.
I see.
It's a hotel.
Oh, I see. So that's why at 3 o'clock in the morning it's quiet in there.
Really? So.
Yeah, I like that. I like the way those pictures are on that wall. That's very nicely done.
Guys, I apologize, but I have to go. To any viewers, I have to end the broadcast because I have to exit. But you three are, I think, the hangout will continue, correct?
Maybe I have to go as well. But
Okay.
I've got to go too, Dan.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, because I'm doing one at 9 o'clock in Guam, and I got to get ready.
Can't find it.
We catch up some other time.
Dan.
Hope to make
yes.
it on you someday when I can talk to Oleg. I understand he's a close neighbor around here in Seattle, so
He's in Kirkland, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
he's
was
right next to you
waiting
guys.
for us to hook up sometime.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And he, yeah, you guys, you know, go to Starbucks or something and grab a cup of coffee and hang out. That'd be awesome.
There's no Starbucks here.
Oh, okay.
Dan, I can't find that other hangout.
Oh, Jason, it hasn't started yet. It starts at 9.
I know, but I can't even find his name. Jason, S-O-L-A-S?
Jason, S-A-L-A-S. And he
S-A-L-A-S.
is with, let me get the station right, because I always mix it up with Sarah Hills. It's in Guam, and let me see. It's Jasonsalas.
Okay.
And let me see.
Just post a link and if you can, when you're done.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Because I'm going to be gone for a few minutes, too.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm about to hang out with Jason Salas.
Yeah.
Okay, in fact, I'll share his post.
There you go.
Okay. Goodbye. And Mike, I put you in my circle, and it was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you as well.
And catch you up with you guys next time.
Sounds
you have
great.
a great evening.
Great
Yes,
talking to you
too.
again. Both
My
you guys.
pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you all. Have a good one. And thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.